Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I would like to try something a little bit different, and instead of coding I would like to discuss 3 data science projects or types of projects to have in your CV to get hired. Now I have been a recruiter at a data science consulting company for a long time. I have done many interviews and reviewed probably thousands of CVs by now. And I would like to give you these tips or these types of projects that you should have in your CV. Now, of course, this is aimed at juniors, right? If you are someone who already has a little bit of experience, this will not be relevant to you. Then you will be judged based on your professional experience more, especially or only if it's related to the data science field. So if you have experience somewhere else, right, in some kind of business settings, this is also really nice because it can be valuable in data science, but you need to pick up the critical data science skills that everyone needs to have. So with this, let's get started. First project I would recommend is just a classical data science project. This means that you should get some data and you should show that you are able to go through all the stages that are necessary in order to create a data science project. So you should extract the data, then do all the data cleansings, right? Think about what do you do with the missing values, what do you do with outliers, and very important is why do you do this? So you should have a clear why for every step, because this is very, very important later on in our job, right? To understand the impact, if you say, okay, you remove the outliers, first off, be able to define very well what an outlier is, and then second of all, be able to explain like what's the impact, right? If you removed it, maybe you didn't remove it. Are there some cases where when you don't want to remove these outliers, be able to talk about this, right? So all the data cleansing, then the data preparation, the standardization, normalization that we are doing, right? Be able to know the math behind it. That's very important. You can use the very popular libraries like pandas and sklearn, and in fact we use them in our role all the time. So it's important to show that you have command over these, but be able to explain the maths behind it. This is very, very important, right? So if you say you standardize the data or you normalize the data, be able to do it also on a piece of paper, be able to understand the difference and the impact that it makes, be able to say, okay, like how do you treat categorical variables, right? And why do you do so? So this is very important. Then the modeling process, right? Why do you select a certain model? Why are you using random forest? Why are you using, I don't know, logistic regression, right? Why are you going straight to a neural network, right? Or a gradient boosting algorithm? Understand the reasons behind it and be able to explain like what's your thinking process when you are attempting the modeling phase, like what are the parameters that you are tuning, how do you do it? But also, once again, the same thing as with the previous step. Be able to understand the maths that comes behind the algorithm. So of course, like here, you don't need to be able to do it maybe step by step on a piece of paper, but at least on a conceptual level. Be able to explain to someone who has no clue of what's going on, like if you say you are doing random forest, just be able to explain on a conceptual level what are the steps necessary and what's happening, right? Because it very much often we face in our work distrust in what we are doing. Like people also today still treat it as a little bit of magic, right? This is why very often it helps to build their confidence if you actually explain it to them what's going on in a way that they can understand. That's very, very valuable skill. And then of course, after you create the model, right, discuss the model deployment, like how this will work once this is finally in production. What will be the steps? Like how will you maintain the model? How will you maybe retrain the model, right? If the performance deteriorates very much over the time. So this is very important here. And in my opinion, this should be the first staple type of project, right? Like a classical data science project with modeling behind it. And I would like just to say, please, for the recruiter's sanity, use an interesting data model, because I can't tell you how many projects I have seen with Titanic survivorship data or with New York City taxi fares. I have seen a lot. Please try to find something that's a little bit interesting, because it also sticks in the recruiter's mind, right? until today, you know, I have people who I hired, who I remember because they have this very interesting project that they did, and we discussed it during the interview. So that's important. Just find something that's interesting. Maybe find something that's interesting to you, because then you will be speaking about it in an interview when asked about it. You'll be speaking with much more confidence, and you will just like the topic much more, right? So I know, maybe you're interested in some sports, then do this, right? Maybe you like football, then get some scores of football matches and try to predict the football match results, right? Do things like that. This is interesting, both for the person who is being interviewed and for the interviewer. Second project that you should do is a project with modern tools. So in our work, more often than not, we are data analysts, we are data engineers, we are database specialists, we are software engineers. This happens much more often than the actual modeling, to be honest. And because today we have access to tools that speed up the processing or speed up the modeling process very, very much. And it is very important to show that you can work with these tools. So on my channel, you will find some videos about cloud. What's also very popular, you know, is Databricks, is Spark. All of these things will make you a much more valuable data scientist, because not only you will have the skills necessary to perform the modeling, but you will also be able to use the modern tools that companies are using today. Because you don't really create the models on a piece of paper, you don't create the models in whatever mathematical software you think of, but you create and deploy them in the real environments, and these environments mean these technologies. So it's important that we are able to use them, because a data science model, in the end of the day, is nothing else than a program. It's just a normal piece of software that performs calculations, and you treat it to a certain degree as every other piece of software, right? So it has to go through the different environments, through the testing, and then it's being deployed to production. And this all happens with a certain technology in mind. This is important. This is why it's important to show that you have a command of these technologies and can really deliver end-to-end on these projects. Because in the end of the day, what we need to remember, that our work is not about creating models, right? Our work is really about solving problems and providing solutions, providing value to our customers. And this is why you need to have a command of the tools that are used to do it. And third and last type of project, this is something that, well, the list would not be complete without, so especially in the last year or two. It's a Gen AI project. So it's really super easy to do it. I already have 2 or 3 videos on my channel that really give you the basic idea of what can you do. Of course, you should probably expand the projects that I have done. They were just a simple videos taking up to half an hour. So you should really expand on them. But there are plenty of services available. You can work with the services for free and really have a good, nice Gen AI project that you have created, because this is something that's just very popular today. And companies are looking at it, are looking at ways they can use it. I think we are still before we have discovered really how we can get a lot of value from the Gen AI. So for now, we are doing mostly relatively simple automatizations of work that just saves us time. However, in the future, I think this will be just increasing in popularity, and it really must be increasing in popularity. This is why it's important that you have a Gen AI project. It's important that you understand what a generative AI is, what an LLM is, research the terms, and I will be surely also making some videos on the channel that will be introducing the topic. Already today, you can find videos that go into a little bit of details with the projects that we have created. However, in the future, I will be definitely looking forward to explaining some of the topics and techniques that we use in order to efficiently get all the value that we can from Gen AI. And lastly, before we finish the video, I would just like to say a few more things. So first off, if you have a project on your CV, include a code link and host your project if possible. So maybe if your project has a dashboard, right? So we discussed the project with modern tools. There, it's important that you maybe have a dashboard, for example, at the end, right? So you have extracted some data, maybe some transformed some data, and then you have a dashboard at the end. So then please host this dashboard or host the code that you have used for this project. I don't know, maybe you wrap this data science model, and I really like to do it in a very simple web application, right? That someone can test it, right? Can provide some inputs and then can see the results. So that's very, very valuable. If you can do it, then please do it, right? Include the code. Link to GitHub is completely fine, that we are just able to take a look at this. And then last thing, be able to talk about your projects. And this is critical. So really the number of times I have asked someone a question directly looking at one of the projects they did, and they were not able to answer it, is very big. Do not be in a situation like this. And do not be in a situation like this that you put just some projects on your CV just to be there, and then in an interview, when asked about the project, you say you don't remember what the project is about or what you did there. Do not do things like this. If you put something on your CV, first of all, have things to put, so do projects. Second of all, if you decide to put something there, be able to talk about it, know the details, right? Because I really, we interviewers are lazy people, right? So really how I will be conducting interviews very often, if I see someone has projects and has good projects, I will just open the project and I will just go through the steps that they did in the project. Like I will ask them, hey, you did here the whatever standardization of data, like why did you do it? How did you do it, right? I used the Python package, and what's behind the Python package, I don't know. Like don't be in a situation like this. Have control and have knowledge about the projects that you did. This will be all for the video today. I hope it helped. Maybe a quick summary. So first type of project to have is a classic data science project where you show your modeling skills. Second type of project is a project with modern tools where you show how you work with the data, how you create the pipelines, right? Maybe some nice dashboard at the end. And third type is a Gen AI project. And that's not to say that you cannot combine these features in one project, right? Maybe all your projects will have this to a certain degree. That's also completely fine. This, I think, are just more of the characteristics that you need to show for your CV to be complete and for you to be completely eligible to be hired as a data scientist. I'd like to thank you for listening to me today, and we will see each other in the next videos.